There is a quiet tension in the modern mind. On one side stands Islam, not merely a religion, but a complete way of life grounded in surrender to the will of God. On the other side stands Stoicism, an ancient philosophy born in Greece and refined in Rome, teaching inner discipline and emotional mastery. At first glance, they seem worlds apart. One speaks of revelation, the other speaks of reason. One bows in prayer, the other sits in reflection. And yet, when you look closer, something subtle begins to unfold. Both Islam and Stoicism begin with the same confrontation: the limits of control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once wrote that some things are within our control and some are not. Peace begins when we stop confusing the two. A Muslim hears this and recognizes something familiar. In Islam, there is the concept of Tawakkul, trust in God after doing one's part. You act, you strive, but the outcome belongs to Allah. This is not passivity, it is clarity. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he could not control other people's behavior, only his own character. Islam echoes this through accountability. On the day of judgment, you answer not for others, but for yourself. In both traditions, self-mastery is sacred. Stoicism teaches emotional restraint, not suppression, but governance. Anger is examined, desire is questioned, fear is challenged. Islam, too, emphasizes discipline. Fasting in Ramadan, lowering the gaze, controlling the tongue. These are not rituals of restriction. They are training grounds for the soul. But here is where the paths begin to diverge. Stoicism is rooted in human reason as the highest guide. It believes virtue is enough for a good life. Islam goes further. It grounds morality not only in reason, but in divine command. Good is not simply what aligns with nature. It is what aligns with God's will. For the Stoic, the universe operates through logos, a rational order. For the Muslim, the universe moves by Allah's decree. One speaks of harmony with nature. The other speaks of submission to the creator of nature. And yet, both teach resilience in suffering. The Stoic says suffering refines character. Islam says suffering purifies sins and elevates rank. Neither encourage complaint. Both encourage patience. Perhaps the real debate is not about opposition. Perhaps it is about foundation. Stoicism asks, can reason alone anchor the human soul? Islam asks, can the human soul stand without revelation? The tension lives there, in authority. Is ultimate guidance internal or divine? We will continue this exploration. If we look deeper, the real difference between Islam and Stoicism is not discipline. It is dependency. Stoicism trains the individual to stand firm within himself. The Stoic seeks tranquility by aligning his thoughts with reality. He does not beg the universe. He does not plead for change. He adjusts his perception and calls that freedom. Islam, however, teaches something more intimate. The believer does not stand alone. He turns to Allah in prayer 5 times a day. He raises his hands in supplication. He asks for guidance in every unit of prayer. Guide us to the straight path. There is humility in this repetition. A Stoic might call it reliance. A Muslim calls it servitude and finds dignity in it. Here lies the psychological contrast. Stoicism builds strength through self-governance. Islam builds strength through surrender. And yet surrender in Islam is not weakness. It is alignment with a higher authority. Where Stoicism says, control your response, Islam says, control your response and remember who controls the outcome. Even suffering is framed differently. The Stoic accepts pain because it is natural. Illness, loss, betrayal, they are part of the human condition. The philosopher Seneca wrote that fire tests gold and adversity tests the brave. Islam agrees, but adds meaning beyond character. Trials are not random, they are measured. They carry divine wisdom. Patience is not merely rational composure. It is worship. And then there is the question of the afterlife. Stoicism remains largely silent. It focuses on this life, this moment, this virtue. Islam stretches the horizon beyond death. Accountability, reward, justice all extend past the grave. This changes motivation. A Stoic behaves well because virtue is its own reward. A Muslim behaves well because obedience pleases Allah and shapes eternity. But notice something subtle. Both traditions fear moral corruption more than material loss. Both warn against arrogance. Both condemn uncontrolled desire. Both call for courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom. The difference is not in moral tone. It is in ultimate authority. Stoicism trusts disciplined reason to reach virtue. Islam trusts revelation to protect humanity from its flawed reason. Perhaps that is where the debate truly rests. Can human reason, on its own, consistently define right and wrong? Or does the human soul require divine guidance to avoid drifting? The Stoic says, look inward and master yourself. Islam says, look upward and submit yourself. And maybe, for some, these are not enemies. Maybe Stoic discipline can sharpen a Muslim's character. Maybe Islamic faith can give Stoic resilience a deeper anchor. In the end, the question is not which sounds stronger. The question is, what foundation does your soul trust when everything collapses?